Absolutely okay with that. All right.
Here we are, May, what is it, May 23rd? I'm losing track of time.
May 23rd, Jamie.
We're approaching a long weekend here. Happy Memorial Day for y'all. Hope you take some time on Monday to reflect on all the wonderful warriors that have served our country to give us the freedom that we get to enjoy. And Farid, I see your little American flag being waved back there, so you can appreciate this country as well as anybody coming from Azerbaijan.
Always, always, Jamie. I'm very thankful for it. Although I really hope we don't follow in Europe's footsteps with everything that's going on.
Yeah, so Europe's not the model?
Europe is not the model.
Oh, okay.
It's funny. My sister is talking about possibly relocating to Madrid, and I love visiting Europe, but I'm like, I would never be able to live there. Yes, sure, it's civilized country, Spain, right? Really all of Europe, but it's just all the rules and regulations and not being able to carry a few things that I like carrying in here.
You're referring to COVID, probably. You like
Yeah,
to bring
yeah, yeah. The masks, yeah.
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 Well,
All
since you
right.
well since you
Well,
opened that since you opened that door, Freed, I just want to say this. There was a years ago, Joanne and I pre-kids, the PK era. We're hiking Machu Picchu. It was a 5-day hike. There was a small group of us being led through the mountains. It was a beautiful journey. We loved it. And two of the six were from Sweden. And so we had this great, and you can't go anywhere. You're stuck with this little group for 5 days as you're just hiking for, hours, at a time. And, they were convinced that Sweden was the best country in the world. And so I'm like, well, tell me, like what makes this country great? And so they had, 5 days to tell me how awesome Sweden was with their free college education, free this and all this wonderful stuff. And I kept throwing at them, I'm like, yeah, but don't you pay 70% income tax? Well,
yep.
yeah, but. And so yeah, it was a stalemate there. I couldn't get over the 70%, and they couldn't get over, America they thought was a second world country compared to theirs. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I was in Spain and Portugal at the beginning of this year in January, and we're in a restaurant in Portugal, and I'm talking to our waiter. He's a gentleman with 4 kids. They're all engineers. He's like, yeah, it's like, they're all pursuing jobs outside of Portugal because I guess the pay in Portugal isn't that high. I'm like, oh, okay, where are they looking at? They're like, well, the first one got a job in Holland. The other one is going to Germany. Third one is got an offer from a company in Belgium. I was like, okay. I was like, none of them are considering US. I was like, US pays well. And the guy's like, oh, no, no, US. Wow, I would not want that. I was like, wow.
mm,
Interesting.
yeah,
Interesting that someone from Portugal, which is really a third world country, in my opinion,
yeah,
thinks that it's US is not stable enough for them.
yeah. That's interesting.
But tells you something, tells you something.
Yeah. Well, let's shift gears here. Well, let's get
Yeah.
down to some beeswax here. So, I don't want to jinx anything. I'm just going to tee this up, Fareed, and then you can run with it. But Fareed he's pushing for a promotion to org consultant. He's in month one, I believe. I think you're not quite in month two yet, but if all goes well, and like I said, I don't want to jinx anything. At NatCon, Fareed's going to get on stage and he's going to celebrate a promotion to org consultant, which is it's a huge deal. So, your org has been on a roll as of late. I'm like, Fareed, I'd love to get you on a call here and just pick your brain and, find out what's on your mind. So, you and your owners are doing an amazing job. Your pound for pound is, off the charts. I think you promoted 2 new owners in your org within the last couple months. So just tell us what's on your mind. How do you explain this momentum? Just give us your thoughts.
Yeah, thanks Jamie for that. The call actually came at a perfect time, Jamie. I've been recently, we're always go, 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 right? And we never really sit and really reflect and try to think about, well, what did we do that got us here? What was it that we did well? What was it that we could have done better? So I've been thinking a little bit about this over the past, since we spoke about 2 weeks ago, I guess, right? And just trying to prep for this call and putting all my thoughts. I even got a chance to talk with my team, and I was like, "What do you guys think we did really well?" And so I came up with a few things, and I'm going off of my phone. So if I'm looking down, just know my notes are on my phone. Um, but yeah, I just want to really talk a little bit about those things, and I think those are going to be hopefully helpful points as people on this call are, aiming. At least I hope they are to become a minimum an OC. And I think OC is really just a starting point of this game, in my opinion, right? It's just that's where you're starting to make better money in passive. Anyway, so the fun really, in my opinion, begins at an OC. But anyway, a couple of things I want to chat about. First thing first, you know, there your business, one of the most important things that needs to exist in your company is excitement, right? For me, you have to be an exciting, if you're trying to get to OC, I think you have to be an exciting leader to follow. You have to be an exciting person. You have to be, and the way you get to that kind of a level, maybe some people are listening to me and saying, what does it mean to be an exciting person? The exciting person is born out of excitement for your business, excitement for your future. Do you believe where you're going? Will it be worth it? Right? Is the end goal absolutely worth it for you? If you are excited, I think that naturally produces this aura around you to where, you know, I've had, even as an assistant manager, people tell me, it didn't happen too often, right? But I've had conversations where people are like, you know, I don't like doing this. I don't like sitting in a Walmart selling direct TV. The only reason I'm doing this is because you are onto something and Sebastian is onto something. That's the only reason I'm staying around here. Now, most those people generally have not worked out. I'll say that long term for me. But it's interesting because when they look at you and they say, "Hey, this sharp guy, this sharp girl is doing this," and they're excited about this, right? I think that produces to some degree a certain level of curiosity in people to want to follow you till the end, right? So first thing first, you got to be an exciting person. You got to be excited about your business. And last but not least, you have to have exciting people in your team. I was reflecting on this for more than a couple of weeks. It's been a few months now that I've been thinking about this. The times that I have not been excited in my business was because I didn't have someone exciting in my office that made me want to get out of bed and bring my best foot forward, made me want to get out of bed and put my best suit on with my best shoes and come to the office and make sure that I'm bringing my absolute A game for that person, for that guy, for that girl, right? Because when you have that exciting person, you're not seeing a rep, right? Backtest this. You're not seeing just another employee in your payroll. You're seeing a future partner. And when you see a future partner, you start to believe things that are not real just yet, right? Which excitement's my first point. My second point is confidence. You know, Sebastian called me about a week, 2 weeks ago. He's like, "Hey, bro, you're on the clock." You know, Sebastian's always the one that celebrates and excited one, right? And I'm like, "Yeah, you know," but it wasn't a surprise to me that I'm on the clock, right? If I'm being very real, very honest, my promotion was coming a few years ago, right? It was already a done deal in my mind few years ago. And I was telling this to Sabs. I was like, Sabs, when you're a brand new office, and maybe you're on this call and you're like, hey, you know what? I don't even have an outside deal. OC, 0% chance that I'll get there right now. And you're 100% correct. 0% chance that you'll become an OC right now. If you're an ICL owner, with no outside deals, statistically speaking, you don't have, you're not even close. You're at 0% of the process. But here's what I will argue. Um, and just hear me out on this. After your first deal, I will argue that you're 95% of the way there. Farid, there's still 7, 8 outside deals that I need after the first one. What do you mean 95%? No, I'm only 10% along the way, or 20, 15%. Ignore the math. Here's the reason why I say 95. First, one thing that happens after your first outside deal is you get the confidence that, hey, you know what? I can do this. The first one wasn't that tough. The next one is not going to be, it's going to be even easier. And you gain that energy of that promoting owner and the confidence of a promoting owner. And I think drastically speaking, your chance of becoming an OC just goes up as close to 100 as possible. Right now, I'm not saying 100 because I think there's still a little wiggle room for you to screw it up, to lose hunger. I'm just calculating for that, but 95% because I think my second point is you gain the confidence, that confidence that's needed. You need to believe it, right? The minute you believe that you can push out 9, 10, 15, 20, 30 deals, right? I'll put it out here on this call. My goal right now is senior national in 2 years, right? And I believe it's going to happen 100%, no doubt about it. Because I believe that if I need to do 30 deals myself, I will do the 30 deals myself. But that confidence is born from that initial ICL owner to promoting owner switch, right? So the confidence piece, I think, is a very important one because you can have, Jamie or Sebastian or other people saying, hey, you can do this. I believe in you. You need to say, I believe myself, right? The minute that confidence is there, I think 95% of the way you're there, right? I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try to leave 5 minutes at the end, maybe, hopefully if we have enough time. Next one is this. I've been thinking about this quite a bit. Intention. How you view your ICL is how you will run your ICL. I've always thought this actually from the get-go, right? My goal wasn't let's run the biggest, baddest sales office. My goal was always let's run the biggest, the best, the pound for pound promoting machine, right? I mean, if I want Sidcore to bet on an owner that they will have someone else coming out of their office, I want them to put their money on my office, right? Because we want to be known as, I mean, this location for some reason just tends to produce owners. How you view your ICL is exactly how you will run your ICL. On the surface level, this makes sense. A lot of people will agree with me. But here's where people go wrong. When your intention is promoting machine, you kind of stop thinking, I just need to get to a safe, stable level for me to promote a deal out. Right? June 2nd, I am celebrating my first kid's 1 year birthday. If you asked me 12 months ago if I was ready to be a dad, the answer would have been no. If you ask me today, I think I'm doing a better job. I don't think I'm a perfect dad. You are never going to be 110% ready to be a promoting owner. But you have to be aggressive enough to make yourself a promoting owner, and then eventually you'll become an even better promoting owner. I have a guy that's pushing for assistant manager right now. And I was chatting with him and I was telling him my intention. I was like, hey, my intention is this. Every new deal I push out, I want that new deal to be even better than the last deal that I did. And Jake is on the call. Jake is killing it. He just opened up, um, already doing $18,000 wires. Great job, by the way. But my goal is already, hey, you know what? I want to be an even better promoting owner to push out an even stronger deal, to make sure that every single guy that I'm pushing out, I want to be a more efficient, more effective promoting machine. My intention has always been the same thing. It's not to run an ICL, right? It's to constantly promote out deals. Jamie, I have 4 books in my bag. This is my bag that I take to the office, and I let me just pull these out. These are all my notebooks that I've taken notes on. And I sometimes tend to go back and read through my old notes. My first one is when I was an actual entry level rep. But I wrote in there, one of my notes was, the minute I lose hunger to promote out deals, I want to quit this game, right? It wasn't the minute I've met my dollar mark. It wasn't the minute I met I have my dream house. There's nothing about a dream car. None of that. It was the minute I lose hunger to push people out, I'm gonna quit. Right? That was my intention from being a rep. So I think intention plays a huge role into it. And sadly enough, I talked to a lot of owners, and their intention, just by what they say, even though sometimes they'll say, I want to promote out somebody next year, everything they do is really geared towards, let's run a great sales office. Let's run a great sales office. I'm baffled that there's so many ICLs in Sitcore and so few promoting owners. That ratio just does not make sense to me, right? I really think, and I really genuinely believe, right, the ratio of offices to promoting offices should be 10% to 90%. I believe everybody should be doing this game for expansion. Otherwise, I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me. Right. Moving on. I'll just go back to my notes here. If there's one superpower that I have, I 100% believe this, and I think my owners agree with me. Vision casting is probably one of the most important. I think if there's one skill that I'm excellent at, and I'm not trying to brag, it's vision casting. I never hide my emotions, right? I always tell my team, and I've literally shown my text messages to my existing owners when I was running a call on vision casting. Hey, read through my texts to my people. Every single text, if you just look through it, you will find a couple of times where I'm saying, this is what I'm planning on doing with you, right? This is my goal. This is my date. This is let's talk about the market closer to the time. I have zero intention of hiding what my intention is. And the reason behind this is because, I read this story a while ago and it has a huge impact on me. I want to say it was from high school, and I'm going to butcher it, but I'm still going to say it. I think it was one of the lines of all the, queens and kings of England, the monarchy kept on passing down. And it was going, again, I'm going to butcher it, but it was going from like Queen Mary to Queen Elizabeth. Problem was, Queen Elizabeth was this wild child, didn't act like royalty, didn't act like a soon to become a queen. Eventually, the family estate people said, hey, Queen Elizabeth, you're getting promoted, not promoted, you're going to be coronated queen on this date. Again, this is from the history books and the names, I'm butchering it, so please don't hold me to it. But I guess the soon-to-be queen, who was a totally wild child, did not act like royalty, did not conduct herself like soon-to-be queen. The minute she got her date, everything switched. She moved on from being, I don't know, a wild child that did not see a promise of the throne to totally acting ladylike, queen-like. I think when you put people on a pedestal, I tend to believe that 8, 9 times out of 10, majority will rise to the occasion, right? I think when you treat people like they're reps and they will stay as reps until they earn the title, yeah, I see the methodology and the principle behind it. But when I tell people that, hey, my goal is to make you an owner, um, I, I I think people tend to rise up to that. You know, I remember one of the one-on-ones that has impacted me the most, and he's here, Daryl. but I was a rep, and I remember, I don't know for what reason, but I was a little bit down, a little bit discouraged. And maybe it was because I didn't feel like I was getting traction fast enough. And Daryl told me, he's like, yeah, Sabs told me that he's planning on making you an owner by January of this year. I'm like, wow, I really need to man up here. Why am I all discouraged? Let's go. Right? I think when people get their quote unquote date or the intention, or you start casting vision to them, they tend to rise up to the occasion. Sure, not all, I agree, not all are going to. And I think the better promoting owner you are, the better ponies you will start picking. I think the experience weighs into it. But the more you do it, the more people are going to rise up to the occasion. When they don't know your intention for them, I just don't think they fight hard enough, knowing that you have their best at heart, right? Which brings me to my next point, loyalty. Loyalty is one of my biggest values. I think it's a must in any owner. And so often, we are talking about, hey, are you loyal to the business? Are you loyal to the business? A question I usually like to ask owners is, are you loyal to your guys? You keep on asking your guys to be loyal to you, but are you loyal to your own guys? And if you are, like, how do you show it? Right? The way I show it, when I tell someone, hey, Billy Bob, I want to make you the next owner. I'm going to make you the next owner by this date. I will literally sometimes, turn the other teams into like a little drip system. You guys all know the drip system in recruiting. And I will open the floodgates and be like, let's go promote, get all these guys up and running. You have to come up with your launch team from this squad right here. But they see that, hey, you know what? This guy said he wants to make me an owner, and he's backing it up with everything that he's doing. He's not joking around. Let's go. Right? When you cast vision, the words that you spoke, those are important. It needs to be backed up with some really aggressive play, in my opinion, so that people know that you mean business, right? It's not just all talk, and it's not just all mushy emotions. It's all business, right? You mean it, what you said that you're gonna do. Jamie, I have 7 minutes. All right. Last thing I want to I'll end with this. Um, I think the key also is, if you're gonna a lot of people know that it's important for us to be leaders. I think very few people really question how they lead, though. I've noticed that when you lead with fear, right, you will tell people to do something and they will do it because they're just afraid to lose their jobs. All right, good for you. You led with fear. You told this guy to do something and he did it. When you lead with fear, that's exactly the results you're going to get. When you lead with love, meaning you actually genuinely love your people, which goes back to the excitement that I talked about. You're excited about them, you love them. When you lead people with love, people will go above and beyond of what you have asked of them to do. They will go above and beyond of sometimes even what your expectation was, right? Because you're not really their manager, their supervisor. I hate these words. You're their partner. Partners love one another. You see the best in their future. You hope for the best in their future. Heck, if you're a man of faith like me, you pray for the best in their future, and they rise up to the occasion and they go above and beyond. Right? I'm a huge proponent of not necessarily coming down on people and making them do what I want them to do. I want them to be my partners. They have my back, I have their back. And we will go above and beyond for each other, no matter what, because there's genuine love and trust between two people. And that's how I viewed all my owners, and that's how I've, currently view my future owners, right? Anyway, those are just some of the high level things that I've already been pondering about, and I don't know if there's 5 minutes left, so I want to leave it out here in the open. If there's any thoughts or questions or disagreements, I'm okay with that too.
Well, thank you, Farid. I mean, my first question, and I'll pass the baton, but I mean, you said you're excellent at vision casting. I mean, how did you, like, were you always excellent? Were you just a student of Sebastian, who I too would consider, excellent at vision casting? Like, how did you get so good at this?
Jamie, I think for me it came, it's no secret that I'm a man of faith. And I think for me it comes really from just reading the life of Christ, right? We all know the story. He picks his 12. I've never really paid attention to this earlier on. I started paying attention to it the second time around when I read the Bible. But he just goes up to people and he's like, "Hey, follow me." And you're like, "Hold on a second. You just met this guy and he just came up to you and he said, hey, give up fishing, follow me. I'm gonna make you fishers of men." And you just stand up, you leave your whole career behind and you follow this guy that you just met. I think vision casting is that for me, right? You have to know where you're going. You have to have an absolute certainty, and you have to go up to people and say, "Come on, follow me." So that's the high level principle, Jamie. I think to me, I developed it primarily from just studying the life of Christ. Which, by the way, you could be religious, you could not be religious, but you can argue with me on this. I think the Bible is the best business book that was ever written. So I think that's how I developed the skill, Jamie, to answer your question.
Yeah, you think about it, he wasn't, giving a long explanation and, asking for buy-in. I mean, it really was a
Oh,
command.
yeah,
And, lots of different professions,
yeah,
Matthew, the tax collector, like, oh yeah, okay, mate, just
yeah,
stop what he's doing. I mean, he had a nice gig going on and he left that. So that's an interesting perspective, Reed. I appreciate that.
yeah.
We got some crickets going on here. Any questions here, y'all?
I got a question for you. This coach.
What's up, coach?
What's up, brother? Um, so you said you vision cast, right? And you let your guys know, like, hey, I'm looking at you to be my next owner. What do you see in that guy for you to start telling them that? What are some skill sets, some traits, some qualities you see in that person
Yeah,
that you're looking at and like, hey, this is my next person?
yeah. I'll say this. Maybe I'll use the example actually. He's on the call. Jake was my last guy out that came out of my office. You see, when I he had to some degree a certain level of performance that I was already good with. I was like, hey, you know what? It's a good sales guy, he knows sales. All right. That's the most basic. We are in the sales generating machine, right? Yes, our business is not a sales game, but sales is our revenue model. So you have to be good at the basics. The next thing was for me that I'm looking for is likability, some level of intelligence. I need stability. If I see you around drama, I don't want to be involved, right? I'm not your dad. I'm not gonna teach you to stop going out late at night and stop making bad decisions. Like, look, give me a certain level of common sense here. Give me a certain level of performance here, and I will do the rest with you, right? So, coach, I'm not really, there's not this massive checklist of things that I'm looking at. I just want, like, give me the basics of an owner, right? High performer, good head on his shoulders, makes smart decisions. Hey, let's go. That's all I need. I can work with that. That I can turn into a good business guy.
Thank you. Love it.
All right, good stuff.
Hey, Farid,
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
have you ever miscalculated when you were kind of casting vision for someone? And if you did, how'd you walk back from that?
That has not happened to me, but I will say this, I've opened up a deal before that shut down, so I'm not a prophet. I can't predict everybody's future. I don't know if everyone's going to be successful. I think after you open somebody up to some degree, they can be a baby bird, right? When Sabs opened me up, he didn't hold my hand and try to make me successful. That was all on me, right? I think you can make the best decision with the wisdom that you have. But past that, it's on you, right? It's your business. Like when you get promoted to ownership, it's your business. It's your job to grow it, to aggressively expand. It's your job to do all that. The rest is, I mean, it's not on you promoting owner. Once you have your business license and your people, it's on. It's all on you. It's nobody else's job to get you up and running. So yeah, I make the best decision I can, and so far what am I shooting 9 out of 10? Right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Farid, I got a question. Is there such thing as like overdoing it, or putting pressure on somebody who maybe doesn't want to be an owner, or feels that type of way? Is there a certain time you're looking at amongst somebody before you're really casting that vision amongst them? And if so, is there such thing as like overdoing it?
I don't really listen to people when they tell me I don't want to be an owner, Gary. Um, matter of fact, one of my guys, Ahmed, who's in Florida, he's Arab. His dad wanted him to be an engineer, and when he was on my call, um, yeah, when he was in my office as a rep, he was like, "Yeah, I just want to learn sales." I mean, this was a better job for him. Came from a car wash. He was like, "I want to be an engineer." He was trying to finish up school. I didn't really necessarily vision cast with words at the beginning, but my actions were still very much the same. Let me build this guy's team and find out if he really doesn't want to be an owner, right? You'll be amazed when ownership is within reach and people will still come and tell you, no, no, I don't want this, right? So my intention for every person in my company is the same. Now, who I actually will work on actively, like look, there's a wisdom behind that decision, right? Which we just talked about earlier. Meaning I'm not gonna pick some bottom guy and who has terrible decisions, terrible habits, always part of drama, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna make you an owner. I'm not gonna happen, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you. Appreciate that.
yeah,
Well, Farid, we appreciate you, and obviously we're all going to do everything we can do to help you get your promotion. It's going to be a fun time in Dallas this summer, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to that party, Jamie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Sabs and I got to do some we got to put our heads together here, don't we?
Don't disappoint.
We got to do something cool. We'll figure it out. But again, I don't want to jinx anything, so I don't want to.
I know until it's there, it's in there.
Yeah.
I'm not
Farid in the
celebrating
club.
either.
That's what coach says. Farid in the club.
Reed used to be in the club before.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
thanks, guys. I gotta go run my own Oracle. Love you all. Thank you. Bye.
Great. See you guys. Thank you.